Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle. This is a very special episode. This is our 100th episode for the channel.
Woo!
And kind
Yay! Crowd noise!
wanted to do a little bit of a celebration, celebrate that we have 1,000 subscribers now.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So this is just going to be a show that we're going to have a little fun with. First, I kind of want to reset kind of the mission of our channel and kind of the structure of what to expect, because I plan to use this video a little bit as like introductory content for people coming in to the channel or new subscribers. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way first, as kind of like, here's what this channel is and here's what we plan to do with it, you know, kind of the schedule you could expect for our videos. So first, kind of the mission of our channel is using this as a platform to share basically what I'm most excited about in the world of music. Mostly prog music, because that's kind of my favorite genre, but really anything's fair game in the world of music. I can focus on anything that I find that I really enjoy. And I'm trying to foster a culture of, you know, positivity and people who are respectful and all share in this love of great classic music.
Yeah, we are a place of positivity.
That's part of our mission here, is to be positive about music. I don't really talk very critically too much about music. I'm usually very positive and I'm doing recommendations and spotlighting albums and music that I love. So that's kind of what it's all about here.
He's a fan of music and he likes to share the music that he loves with other people.
Yeah. So. And I feel like the channel kind of stands on three types of shows that we tend to do, and then a fourth kind of bonus types of shows. But first, there's New Music Friday that I talk weekly about the best things that are happening in the world of music.
This week in News of Prague.
Yeah, so that's my show where I just talk about what's happening in the world of prog mostly, but also in other music realms that are related, and basically talk about new releases and new singles that are coming out and just some of the biggest headlines. So that's kind of the first set show that happens every Friday. Then we have our Jana Reacts videos that we do together that comes out every Sunday, where we react to prog songs that I usually know and love, but my wife is less familiar with.
I do not know them.
So we're kind of showing my wife some great prog music, classics, and also some modern stuff. We kind of draw from both, and we also take some requests that you guys have. You know, I've gotten several requests in comments, and so I'll pick and choose certain ones that I feel would work well for our videos and
you put
them in a big playlist.
And then we shuffle into
we shuffle into the song, so
we don't know what song we're going to listen to that day. So
exactly.
We can take your request and put it in the list. Whether or not, like, when we get to it, that's up to the shuffle gods.
So I find it kind of a fun way to go about it, and it kind of takes away the responsibility of, like, why did you pick this one? Well, it's the shuffle that picked it.
It's the shuffle. And it's actually been kind of fun because we've had some really, like, random things that probably you would not have picked.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
Me. So, I like it. Because there was even been a couple songs that you're just less familiar with. So
yeah, that's
I like
true.
that a lot. So.
Yeah, I put in some requests even that maybe I know less, and so sometimes they'll be new to both of us. So, but I feel like for a reaction, it at least has to be new to one of us, and that's usually Jana, but sometimes both of us.
Yeah.
So, and then the third type of show I tend to do is new album spotlights, where I talk about the latest releases. Sometimes it could be reissues or classic albums, but mostly new prog albums that are coming out. And before, I used to do these always on Tuesdays, but now I'm kind of loosening up the schedule a little bit and just coming out with them when they come. You know, there could be several releases coming in one week, and I do several that week. And then there could be a few weeks where there aren't really much new albums coming out, and I might not do an album spotlight for a little while. So, and they may not always come out on certain days of the week. I could put one out on a Saturday or, you know, Wednesday. Not a huge change, but I used to be very structured about every Tuesday there was an album show.
We're loosening up the strings on that one.
So they're a little bit more sporadic, but I'm hoping that means I can get them out like closer to when they were released, so it's more like fresh and in the conversation, and so that I have more flexibility
instead of like having to wait until the next Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's kind of the idea behind that. And I didn't want to feel forced to, like, I have to come up with an album even though I don't really have a great one to talk about. I'd rather wait until there is one worth talking about. And sometimes these album spotlights are what I call New Music Shuffle, where I talk about several at once kind of shorter reviews all kind of compiled in one show, because they're notable albums that I want to talk about, but maybe I don't have enough for a full video, or there's just a lot of them and I just feel like it makes more sense to group them all. So that's kind of the idea behind that. And then there's kind of a variety of bonus shows that I like to do fairly regularly. I have the Unshuffled series that I do, where I do album rankings of notable prog artists. I've done several from Frost to Big Big Train to Neil Morse. Have an up and coming one for Yes. And so that's kind of a fun thing I do monthly. And then I every few months I do vinyl haul videos. I've only really done one so far, but I plan to do them regularly about every 3 or 4 months, of the latest things I've received on vinyl, and kind of give a collection update of my latest acquisitions.
I think you've had 2 vinyl hauls. You did one early with Rhino Records.
Oh, that's true. I did one almost one of my very first videos.
It was the second or third video we ever did.
Yeah.
Back when we were still learning how to do videos. We're still learning how to do videos.
Yeah. So that's all kind of the structure. And we have a new show we're going to announce, but I kind of want to save that to the end of this, that we're going to be doing regularly, both of us. So that's kind of exciting. But, that's probably enough setup for what the channel is.
Bonus shows are fun.
Bonus shows. We love bonuses. So now I thought we'd kind of jump into a retrospective of some of our favorite videos we've done so far, kind of to give you an idea of what we've done with the channel and what ones that a lot of people have liked and so forth. So I thought I'd give kind of a top 5 list of my favorite videos, just kind of general videos, and then I'm going to have Jana do the top 5 Jana Reacts videos. So yeah. I thought that would be fun.
You picked these, and they're from non-Jana Reacts. Right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're all the videos that
all the other videos, the ones I've done solo, essentially, or without Jana.
Yeah. So. And then mine are the ones, and we haven't told each other what we
picked,
it's
kind of a surprise.
Surprise!
So, and I also wanted to state, I kind of meant to say this maybe at the front, I know there's a lot of people who probably came on board as subscribers for different types of shows. Some people just like the reactions with Jana. Some people maybe just like the new music content that I do. There's probably 2 camps, I feel like. And so I hope that's okay with everyone, that I like to keep it all in one channel, and just, you can pick and choose what videos you care to view. There's no obligation to watch. If you don't care about the new Music Fridays, that's fine. You don't have to watch those.
Just like we say, you can listen to whatever music you want to listen to. You can watch whatever videos you want to listen to. And if, something just doesn't float your boat, don't, click off of it.
Yeah.
Don't let us waste your time. There's plenty of other YouTube videos out there to watch. Though we do want you to watch ours. So, don't go. We like you.
Yeah, please stay. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm hoping, I put out a lot of content, and sometimes I have some anxiety about oh, am I putting out too much of this style video? Do people only like this kind? But I have to just put out what I enjoy and what I like, and both sides are very important to me, so I don't want to sacrifice either one. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And so just wanted to make that known. I feel like this is a good opportunity to kind of say that. So, all right, top 5 favorite Nathan on Shuffle videos.
Go.
Should I start this one?
Yes.
So I'm just doing these kind of in a chronological order.
Sorry, I peeked.
You spoiled it. So I did this in a chronological, kind of highlight some of the biggest moments, I guess, that I feel like the channel has had. And I thought about a lot of different ones that kind of were big. As a kind of honorable mention, just my first week of shows where I kind of started the channel. My Nightwish solo reaction that I first did that kind of blew up a little bit and led us down the path towards Nightwish. But those were 2 notable early ones. But then I wanted to put as my first official choice my first New Music Friday that I did. And this one featured Neil Morse Band and talking about the upcoming Innocence in Danger. It talked about Leprous and their upcoming album, both of which I spotlighted later. And then I did a reaction to Big Big Train song, Apollo, from their album Common Ground. So it covered a lot of my favorite artists, and it was just a fun way to kind of start that show. And I'm really proud of the New Music Friday. I think it's one of my favorite shows that I do. I like the concept of it. I think it works well. I've tweaked it throughout the weeks, but I think I'm settling in a good groove with it. So I just wanted to make sure one of those got spotlighted. as one of my favorite videos because, you know, it's hard to pick and choose because each one's just that week in news. It's hard to like say, okay, this was my favorite week of news items. But
I think some of the reasons I picked the ones that I picked was because they had they were momentous for us.
Yeah.
So your first one is a good one.
That's kind of what I thought
momentous,
about.
Yeah.
Momentous. Because it started pretty much a staple of the channel. It's kind of an experiment at the time of like, I thought it would be fun to have that kind of a show. But I knew it could like just be dead in the water because it might just not be interesting. But I think it's worked. I think a lot of people come for that, and I like that. So, and then I wanted to highlight next that came out. I kind of wanted to put the dates in next to it. June 17th, I came out with a album rankings of Gentle Giant albums, and I put a lot of effort into putting this one together and spent a lot of time listening to the albums, and I feel like the show really came together in a way that I was proud of, and I really liked all my album ranking videos. This was just one in particular that I thought was well constructed, but really loved the Big Big Train one that I put together, the Neil Morse Band one I just did. I really plan to keep doing those, and I think it's a great way to spotlight these bands that I just truly love. I'm really excited to do the Yes one, even though a bit intimidated, because I know I have a lot of Yes fans out there who, you know, have very strong opinions about what albums are good and not good. And, you know, I'm fairly positive about everything, so I'm going to probably speak positively about their whole catalog, which could irk certain people.
Calm down, guys. It'll be okay.
But, you know, I think people are mostly fine and respectful.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about a couple fringe like things where I've seen a couple of negative comments, but you know, by and large, people are great.
You? Yeah, most like 99% of people are really wonderful, and we really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and I love the comments, and I want to encourage that. I don't want people to feel, oh, well, I can't comment because. I
love how interactive, like everybody is, and how cool everybody is, and respectful everybody. Like it's just. Great.
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
been one of my favorite parts of the channel is like, and maybe I overdo it. Like I comment on everyone's comment. Like I'm always replying to people constantly, and maybe I do that a bit too much sometimes. But I really appreciate that. I don't talk much in real life, so this is kind of my only outlet to like socialize with people.
Yeah, he's mentioned before he's got a little bit of anxiety. Yeah. So in real life, you've probably never heard him talk.
Yeah. I've talked more probably just in the
last year.
Yeah, in this last video than I have in my rest of my life beyond the channel.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the third one, it was a really popular one that I'm sure everyone would expect to be on here, was my top 5 prog albums with my dad. I had my dad on the show in June 26th was the date of this one, and we talked about our top 5 prog albums, and that's been one of the biggest viewed videos beyond our reactions, and everyone really loved my dad's take on the albums. I think people like my dad coming on because he comes in with a lot of experience. You know, he knew prog back when it was, you know, big in the 70s. He kind of grew up with these artists as they were releasing albums. So I think people respect his opinions. You know, I'm a younger guy. I've come across a lot of these classic bands later, you know, after their classic periods. I feel more an expert on the modern prog scene than I do on the classic 70s prog, even though I know a lot about it and have really studied it deeply. And my dad, he knows a lot about several particular artists, but he doesn't know a lot about the whole scope of prog, I'd say. But people loved his take on things. I keep getting comments of like, oh, I want to hear his take on the new Yes album. I want to hear what he has to say about this thing. You know, and I plan to have him back on. I'm still trying to work that out. I don't want to make any promises yet, but kind of...
We're working on it.
Working on it, considering an upcoming video about it. So, you know, but people love my dad, so it's really been fun to see that. My dad, he appreciates all the comments too. He reads the comments too, and he's talked about several comments like, oh, that's cool that what this guy said. So, you know, he's very much had fun with that, and so definitely a cool experience. Yeah. So I wanted to next at number 4 on my list talk about my vinyl haul video I did This was in August 19th. I did a vinyl haul of all the records I picked up between like May and August of this year, which was a massive amount of albums. It was like ridiculous because I just went a little bit crazy over those months because starting this channel, I got really excited about music all over again, and I wanted to buy certain albums to kind of be able to talk about them on the channel. And so we did several like trips to certain record stores and just it all built up and was like this.
It was like a big stack,
yeah.
But then that was half.
That was half of it.
There was a whole other stack.
It was so big I couldn't physically like hold it in one picture. So.
We should like take a picture of all of it. No, we'd have to like unfile them and stack them. And, like,
yeah,
that's too much work. It's a lot. Trust us.
But yeah, it was a super fun video. It was a great chance for me to talk about all these great albums, and I plan to do another vinyl haul. Probably towards the end of the year of like what I've gotten since that vinyl haul. I kind of plan to do like 3 of them over the course of the year, and it won't be nearly as many as that video was, but hopefully a respectable little stack. So I just find that fun to kind of share what I've gotten recently, and a lot of people seem to like those style videos. I also did a cool like vinyl tag video I kind of almost put on this list. I can't remember if it was the one. There was one that was more general of like prog vinyl tag, and then one that Neve, the prog nerd, did. You know, she kind of created it and put it forward. I think that was the one where I felt really good about, you know, it was a lot of good prompts. You know, they give you questions about what's an album that has a great guitar solo, or what's a great, you know, all these different prompts you have to answer with an album. And I thought it was just super cool and had a lot of fun sharing about some of my favorite albums that I don't normally talk about on these shows, because I tend to talk about like what bands are releasing new albums, and you know, this time I got to talk about a little bit of some of my favorites that, you know, I haven't talked about as much. So that was a great one. And then finally, as my number 5, a recent review I did, my Neil Morse Band review of Innocence in Danger is my last pick from the end of August. And I just picked I wanted to represent my reviews in some form, and I really liked that one. That's been one of the most anticipated albums of the year for me. I was super excited. Probably went a little overboard. I talked like 30 minutes about one album and went through every song in detail and talked about all this stuff. But it was so fun to film, and I think people enjoyed it. It got pretty good reception and good comments and stuff. So because I'm a Neil Morse fanatic, I felt like I had to have something Neil Morse related, and so I really liked doing that review. So those are 5 of my favorites.
Nathan's favorite videos.
So hopefully you guys appreciate it. If you have your favorites that you've seen, I feel a little bit like all attention on me and my what do you like about me.
Now it's my turn though.
But yeah, if you want to put your favorite videos I've done, and
if you like any of our videos, let us know. We'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, I like to know like what was successful, what kind of shows I should keep doing, and that kind of thing.
What should we keep doing?
So, but now we're going to turn it to Jana.
Okay.
I've been talking too much.
My
turn. Let's give you your top 5 Jana Reacts videos.
Top 5. These are in no particular order. Okay? So, the first one is one of our... I didn't date them, so I don't know when
that's fine.
I'm not...
I was just trying to give a little bit of a historical...
Mine are not in chronological order, or they're not in any particular order. I
no problem.
Said that.
Just say
the
them.
first one that I liked, that I came across was "The Day the World Breaks Down" by Ariane.
Oh.
And that was one of my favorite Jana Reacts videos because I got to watch a video so I just really enjoyed the experience of that. I thought it was really fun to watch the video, and it had like all that pop-up video stuff in it, like background of how he's making it, and it had all these like wonderful singers in it. It was so amazing and so fun. So that was like that's in my top 5. Yeah. I loved that.
And people would probably like if we did more like us watching like live videos, more visual stuff, you know. We've done that a little bit, but I always get like, oh, you should have reacted to the live version of this. You should have like pulled up this concert footage, and you know, so maybe I should incorporate that more. I kind of prefer studio tracks mostly, so I'll probably lean more towards that, but maybe every so often I should do that. Yeah. Do a live version, like the live version of, you know, Comfortably Numb, or the live version of, You know, something like that.
Speaking of comfortably
Oh, did I spoil one?
No, oh, that's not a spoiler. I mean, it's farther down on my list, but I'm going to talk about it right now. So
I guess so.
Was Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, and I liked that one because I liked that video itself because it was the one that I shared on my personal Facebook page, and finally told like my Facebook friends and family like what we were up to with this channel. Like we just kind of like let it grow on its own. I didn't want us to rely on getting subscribers from like friends and family because they're just gonna subscribe and then never watch any of your videos. Like I'd rather have people who actually enjoy the content subscribe. And so but that was the video that I shared and just let everybody like kind of know about what we were up to and what we were doing. And everybody was really nice about it and like saying congratulations on this channel and this achievement and what you're doing. And so I that's why I liked that video because it was like a milestone. Yeah. So I mean I liked the song too. So one of my coworkers told me that she watched it with her boyfriend. So that's nice. Because not many people at my work know that I have. Yeah. So that was cool.
I think it's a good choice for that because it's not too overtly proggy, you know. Yeah. It's like a good classic rock song, you know.
And I remember like interpreting the lyrics like on the spot, and I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments on that one. Like, I guess that's what led to that. We should have picked the live version. There's like a essential live version of that track that people say is like next level. Well, maybe we'll go back amazing. And watch that. So we probably should. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, off channel. Like we don't have to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I have on here Turn of the Century.
Oh yeah.
Because that's one of our early ones. I think it's before we had any records.
It was like a blank wall.
Like before we had moved to this wall. Like our very first videos, we were like in front of a bookcase, and it was just too busy. And so we moved to a blank wall, which we had intended to do this, but we hadn't done it yet. And so it was just this blank wall with nothing on it. But I liked that one because it was like the first one that I put bloopers in. And because I was so excited to do a Valentine's Day video, but it wasn't a Valentine's video, it was for our anniversary. So
iconic blooper.
So like that was the first time I put in a blooper. I'm like, this is funny. Like I need to put this at the beginning. And so I did, and I just love doing like the little bloopers. So I'm sorry if you just skip to those skip over them every week. It's okay. I'm okay with that. But I enjoy them a lot. But then it was a love song too, so I just loved that too. So I enjoyed the song a lot. So
very
milestone.
Nice. Yeah.
And then Nightwish.
Okay. Has to be on there.
My first Nightwish video was Story Time, and it is our highest viewed video right now. It's sitting somewhere 17 or 18,000, something like that, which is really wonderful. Thank you guys for clicking on it.
Yeah.
I knew that he had reacted to something that had blown up his channel just a little bit, and so I was curious about what about the music that had gotten that reaction from the fans, and so you shared it with me in our reaction channel, and it turns out I love symphonic metal. Yeah, I love symphonic metal. Like I love it. Like we go and see Trans-Siberian Orchestra every year because I love that like rocking out beautiful music and like metal. Like I just loved it, and so I loved that song, and so like from there, like we decided to go on this symphonic metal journey. And I'm still on it, and I'm going slow because I don't want to like I don't want to like oversaturate myself with something and then just get sick of it. So and I'm not at that point at all. I love it. So I've gotten a couple playlists of just random songs. I've gotten a couple band suggestions. So thank you guys for suggesting some other bands, and in addition to Nightwish, which is amazing. They're amazing.
Definitely.
And then my other favorite video, I'm sorry, is Focus.
Oh yeah.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Which is such a weird little song. It was just so unexpected, and I didn't know what like I said bring up lyrics, and you're like, I don't think there's really lyrics. Not really. And I'm like, he's hiding something. What's going on? And then it was like this yodeling music, and it was just so enjoyable. And then we watched like the live video of it when they performed it on the show, which somebody told us they only had like 3 minutes or 4 minutes to perform a 6-minute song.
Smash it into the smaller.
And so they played it super fast. And so it was all this yodeling and I just enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite videos as well.
Awesome.
Jana Reacts videos.
That's a great choice.
Jana Reacts videos, the non-prog wife reacts has been it's been a lot of fun for me. Like it's, the music, like I've loved all the new music that I've listened to. I've loved being able to film these videos and be a part of your channel that you've been doing and hearing from you guys out there, all the positive feedback from you guys. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hear a lot of people comment that that's their favorite videos that we do. It's a very common thing I've heard in the comments. And, I'm sure there's a large portion of people who, that's their main thing they like to watch on our channel, which is totally cool. And it's one of my favorites to do as well. So I'm more than fine with that. Sometimes I get a little nervous about like, am I picking too many heavy songs? Am I picking too many old school prog songs? Am I not doing enough people requests? I mean, I put them in shuffle, so that kind of solves that a little bit, that it just kind of is up to that. But, sometimes I worry, like, are we putting too many metal songs into our playlist, or are we putting too many,
It's fine.
But I think it's a good balance. So hopefully, if there's one week a song you just don't care for, we'll be back the next week to do something you might like more. So once again, doesn't need to be said. It's just, it is what it is, but there you go.
All right. What's
so
next?
I kind of wanted to talk, we could do this quickly because, I think it was more interesting to do the videos, but I thought...
Are we going long? We're probably going too long.
Yeah, it's kind of a long one. But
thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I kind of knew it would be long, but... So I thought we could briefly mention our five favorite songs, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a difference to me of like what our favorite reaction videos are versus what the favorite songs are that we've done. What is our list?
They're very similar.
Oh boy. So how should we do this? Back and forth, or?
Yeah.
All right, so my list, my number 5 favorite of the Jana React songs we've done, just personally what songs I really love. I put Dream Theater's Count of Tuscany as my number 5 because I just love that song. It's funny. Well, it's not really meant to be funny, but it's like a interesting story. It's like a cool epic. It has lots of different sections. And it's always been one of my favorite. I love Dream Theater. They're one of my favorite bands.
Mine are in no particular order, but I had also picked Dream Theater Count of Tuscany.
Yeah.
For much of the same reasons. I just thought it was just really a cool song. I remember it had that long musical part in the middle. It had that. It
had a music part.
It had a music part, guys.
Wow.
I just enjoyed it a lot. It was really good. So.
Okay, so my number 4.
is the same as mine.
Okay, is the Flower Kings, Stardust We Are, which is an epic song we did. I love modern prog is kind of, you'll see that that's kind of a focus on my list. But I love that track. It's one of my favorite all-time epics. I love the Flower Kings, and I just think it's such a beautiful song that has so much going for it, so many moods. I'm surprised you're picking these epics. But yeah, if that's on your list.
Me too, because I notoriously do not necessarily appreciate the epics. But when I sing back these songs in my head, I can sing, Stardust we are. Like, I can remember that. Whereas some of the other ones that I've, like, looked and I'm like, I have no idea what song this is. Like, some of them have stuck with me, and this one has stuck with me, and I loved it. And parts of it, I still think they're too long. That's just my personal opinion, but they're great. It's great music. Yeah. So.
And I know these. A video like that doesn't do as well because maybe the Flower Kings aren't as well established or known as like the big prog names. So I always wish those got more views, but I still think it's worth doing. And I think some people who are fans of our reactions are introduced to those new songs that way. So, and that's the kind of stuff I love.
Hot take, new prog, just as good as old prog.
Hot take. We'll get to that. That might be part of an upcoming Q&A question.
Oh, okay. Really?
Well, I don't know.
We'll save that then.
All right, so my number 3, we're just continuing down the line, is Genesis, Firth of Fifth, which is a classic prog song. It has that classic, piano opening that's just beautiful, classical influence. Has an epic guitar solo in it. It's just like perfect encapsulation of what prog is about to me in a fairly short song that's not too epic, not too long. Mm-hmm. So this is a classic. It has to be on my list.
Cool. I did not pick that one.
That's okay. Let's see your choice.
I picked Marillion Kaylee.
Oh, nice.
Because I liked it. It was short.
That's always a positive.
Yeah. But I just liked it. It was like a little pop song in the middle of our journey here. So I just liked it.
I remember that one. It was a little funny because I think it ends kind of abruptly because it really on the album goes right into the next track. So I probably didn't do that so well, but
it's one of my favorite songs that I liked.
Okay, that's a good choice. Mm-hmm. And that one came out like in the 80s, so maybe not totally modern, but next I have Yes and You and I was my number 2. I love this track. It's beautiful.
Was that an epic?
It's semi-epic. It's like 12 minutes-ish range, I think. So it's really beautiful Yes song. It's just, and we've done several Yes songs. They're like really great, all the ones we've done. But I just this is on one of my favorite Yes albums, Close to the Edge, and it's just a beautiful kind of laid-back track, but with some great sections, great John Anderson vocals, and it's just a beautiful track.
Mine is Yes, Roundabout.
Okay, that's fair. I figured that'd be on your list.
Yeah, that was the very, very first Jana Reacts song that we did. Non-prog Wife Reacts. Mm-hmm. It was the very first one we did, and it was like the shuffle gods were watching.
Yeah, a good start
out for us that day, because if it had been something that I totally just didn't care about, then I don't know that I would have continued, or maybe I would have done them less frequently. Yeah. But this first experience with this song was so good, and I love the song, and I can still sing parts of it in my head, and after only hearing it a couple times, and I just really enjoy that song. I love the musicality of it, the voices and the singing voices. It's all so good.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That's a cool choice. And, I think that's true. The only regret I have is that it's our first video, so it's a little bit rough.
Our sound wasn't quite.
Our sound wasn't good. We cut the song a little bit. We stopped it.
Stopped to talk.
I still get comments of oh, how sacrilegious to stop this song, and
it was our first video. Give us a break.
And our setup was weird. People talked about the alien antenna behind your head.
There was a light thing that looked like an alien antenna.
Yeah, but I think we had good things to say still, even back then. So, but we're much more comfortable with our format now, I think. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was a great choice to start. I think something a little more wackier, you might have been maybe we shouldn't do these. But I think that was a nice way to ease into it.
Yeah.
So, my number 1 is, of course, it's probably my favorite song of all time, is Transatlantic, Stranger in Your Soul, we reacted to. Just amazing song. Of course, it's Neil Morse related. I was really excited to do it. We reacted to it. Once again, because it's more of a modern band, it didn't get quite the views of some of our classic prog stuff. But
it was the first epic.
Really, our first epic. I think check that one out if you haven't heard of that, or you didn't know we did a reaction to it. Really fun. I just, you could tell I'm giddy and excited in the video, because it's just one of my favorite all-time tracks. It just is the perfect encapsulation of prog music to me, modern prog, and just has so many sections and so much going on. It's Neil Morse at his finest with a great epic closing ending, and it's from one of my favorite albums of all time. So perfect song for me.
I picked that one too.
Oh.
And at the time, it was the first epic that I listened to, and I think it was hard for me to sit there for a long time. I'm more used to it now, but at the time, I think that I didn't. I don't think I expressed very well how much I liked it, because I didn't know, because I was very very perplexed about the length of the song and how antsy I was feeling.
True.
But the music itself, is I've seen Transatlantic live,
Uh,
and they are amazing. Have I heard this song live?
you might have.
I might have.
It's
That might have
hard
been
to
the one
remember
where I went to bed early on the cruise. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly their set list.
But hearing their music, like, and this particular song, I feel embodies everything that they are able to do, and that they are able to write this epic that builds and builds and builds until there's this climax towards the end of the song, and it's just beautiful and feels life affirming, and like just it very, and I can sing the little ditty in my head from this one as well.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, is because I know that you love that song so much,
Yeah.
so I have like some of that affection of it is like spilling over on me.
Sure.
But I liked it a lot, and I didn't expect myself to pick this one because I remember at the time, I was like, I wasn't sure if I'm going to add this to the playlist, but
right.
But as I was going over all the videos that we've done, like this one just kept jumping out at me, and I wanted to pick it, and it was just because it's such a good song. It's like it's so beautiful and has all these different parts to it, and I love how it builds, and I feel like it pays off in the end. So even though it's long, like
it's still too long.
I gotta be like driving or crafting or doing something while I listen to it. So
yeah.
Sitting here for those longer songs was the very first one we did, the first epic we did, and so it
that was
hard
a bit
for
of
me,
a challenge.
but I really appreciate that song. So
awesome.
Did I surprise you?
Yeah, I'm surprised because I remember you saying in the video like, I don't know if that's on my playlist.
Yeah.
Like you were a little bit hesitant.
Yeah.
And I was expecting you to like it a little bit more, but it's really nice to know that you do.
I do.
Yeah.
I really love it, and I love, like, I don't know. It's just what some of those, maybe I'm associating it with just good memories with you, and seeing Transatlantic and Neil Morse play live, and a lot of his epics are like this. So
sure,
it just brings back good memories, and so this one has been percolating for me and growing, and I enjoy it a lot.
Awesome.
So
all right.
Okay.
All right, I think that's cool.
Yay.
So next I was going to
next section.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, just a few questions. I didn't get a ton of questions, but I got some pretty good ones from a few people. So I thought we could get into that. Some of those I feel like we kind of covered in that retrospective period. Because one of the ones we got is what is your random top 5 prog albums? And I kind of feel like I covered that a little bit in I kind of wanted to mention here about our show we did with Notes Reviews.
Oh, yeah.
We did the top 5 desert island albums or whatever.
What if you're on a desert island, what albums would you have with you? What 5 albums?
Yeah, and so I kind of want to direct people towards that. That's kind of a good show of my random top 5 albums.
Yeah, I was there too.
So, and she did top 5 albums too of her.
None of them are
not
prog,
but so I think that might be the best way. Also, the show with my dad, I talk about top 5 prog albums. So I'm not sure I want to say what they are. I'd rather have people check out those videos, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my answer to that one. And then we got a couple, what's your favorite prog reaction video? I think
which is what we did.
Just did. And which song have you reacted to that had the most impact is your favorite? I think we just did that too.
Yeah.
So here's a few personal style questions. Do you think we should get into that?
Yeah. How did we meet? How long have y'all been together? How long were we together before you decided to get married? And then some asking about children. So we met at a church activity for single people, and somebody who was running the activity brought him over to me or me over to him and said, I think you guys would be a cute couple. Here's a gift card to Chili's. Go on a date. And so we did.
Yeah.
And so we did. And then that person who introduced us we had our reception in her backyard.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate people watching out for us and thinking, it was a good match.
Right.
That was 10 years ago this month when we started dating.
Yeah.
In October of...
we're almost our 10-year dating anniversary.
Dating anniversary. 2011. October 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then New Year's Eve, 2 months later, 2.5 months later, we got engaged.
Oh, yeah. We did it very quickly.
And then May the next year, 4 months later, we got married. So between first date and marriage, it was 6.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And next May, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably a lot quicker than we would have thought, but it
felt right.
Felt right, and it just seemed like the right timing.
We have good chemistry, and good, all the things you're supposed to have in a marriage. We have that. So
and once we got together, we were just with each other constantly, and kind of, practically we're dating every day, essentially. So we were able to kind of fast track the process a little bit, I think. Yeah. But it was cool. I
had to pull him out of his shell because he didn't talk in the first couple dates. Like you ask him a question, he'll respond, but not very voluntarily. I would there was, I think, our third date where I was like, he was finished with his food, and I had been talking the whole time, and I had hardly eaten because I had been talking, and so I said, "Okay, you talk." And then I just stopped and I just ate while I let him talk, and it was probably the most awkward you ever felt. But it helped me get to know him. So
I'm lucky because before that experience, I thought I was probably too shy to ever really meet someone and date anyone, but I was kind of put together with Jana. I was kind of pushed to be able to meet up, and I needed that push, and she was so great at pulling me out of my shell. And at some point fairly early on, I just started to feel really comfortable, and I knew because of how comfortable I was feeling with her that it must be the right relationship.
I could tell he was an absolute gem, even if he didn't talk to me very much at the beginning. So that's the first 2 questions. We do not have any children. We hope to have some in the future.
Yeah. Probably not much to say about it. We hope, but we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. We'll keep you posted on that.
I got a question. What was your earliest Prague memory?
I know mine.
Yeah, you might have a better answer.
We were on a date.
Fair.
And I said, "What kind of music do you like?" And he said, "Something called progressive music." I'm like, "Huh. Is there any artists that I know?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I like old bands like Yes and Genesis, but I really love this guy called Neil Morris." That's what I heard. I'm at home Googling Neil Morris, and nothing's coming up. I'm like, okay, Neil Morris, Prague. And then oh, Morse, got it.
Yeah. I feel like that's a common...
that question was probably for you, but I just threw mine in.
No, I think we both should answer.
Okay.
So for me, it's tough because I don't have great recall of my childhood and so forth. I kind of remember my dad playing it even when I was young because of course it's my dad's favorite music. I can almost hear some of the Otter Gentle Giant type stuff that he would play in my mind from when I was young, the glass breaking and In a Glass House and stuff like that. So that's probably the earliest memory. And then of course a more settled memory is just listening to it with my dad, listening to those albums, because I would share music excitedly with him that I was finding modern alternative rock and things that I liked as a teenager. And so he kind of took me out and showed me a lot of prog music. I remember him kind of teaching me how to drive, and we'd play prog songs in the car as I was driving and stuff. And so that's kind of the earliest real memories I have of prog music, is back with my dad, him showing me that music when I was a teen.
Cool.
So, okay. There's a bunch of interesting questions here of prog stuff. That one, if you could put together your dream prog supergroup, who would be in it? So
Ooh.
my dream prog supergroup kind of already exists. It's called Transatlantic. That would kind of be my choice. But, I tried to think a little bit more about it. So I thought it'd be fun to do kind of an older school prog supergroup, kind of like from the classic bands. And then maybe a newer school one that doesn't involve the Transatlantic guys.
Can I just have a duo? So my duo would be John Anderson and Mike Portnoy.
Awesome. Just those two.
Just those two.
Just him singing over drums.
Drumming and him singing.
Okay, I like it.
I should probably fill out the band a little bit.
That's all right. I like that super group. The drum and vocal group.
They can do no wrong.
So I thought, here's my thought of the old school prog. On vocals, we did recently a reaction to Renaissance. And Annie Haslam is the lead singer of Renaissance. And I always love her voice. Think she's like one of the best vocalists ever. So I kind of put her in the vocal spot. Of course, John Anderson would have been a great choice. But I tried to pick like one member of each band. So I already have another member of Yes in my group here. On guitar, I thought about Steve Hackett from Genesis. Just a really excellent guitar player. He does stuff even now that's really great. Just came out with a solo album. So I kind of like him being in here. Keyboards, I thought of Keith Emerson from, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Just like an amazing, just classical pianist and just like maestro at keyboards.
Can I add Rio to mine to make it a trio?
Sure. Yeah, add Rio. Yeah, you're slowly building your...
I'm getting there.
Interesting little lineup there.
I need a guitarist, huh?
Yeah. Maybe one will come to mind.
Eric Gillette.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
He can sing backup.
There you go. That's a great
now
choice.
I got 4. What else am I missing?
I think
a
like a bass, yeah. Or a keyboard.
Paul McCartney? He's not prog.
That's cool.
I only know one other bass player.
Well, speaking of bass, my bass player would be Chris Squire from Yes.
Okay.
The classic,
I already have John Anderson,
bass
so I
player.
can't put him in my...
Yeah. Well, you don't have to follow that same rule.
No, I got it.
If you followed that rule, I don't know if you could put Mike Portnoy and Eric Gillette together because they're both in Neil Morse band.
Oh, dang. Okay, I can break the rule.
I'm just kidding. And then a drummer, I thought of Neil Peart from Rush would be a cool drummer. Nice. So that was kind of an old school configuration.
Yeah.
And then kind of the newer school, maybe more of like a, like, I don't know if it's progressive metal or something more along those lines, a more modern progressive metal-ish group. I put together here is on vocals Daniel Gildenlow from like Pain of Salvation, just one of the most extraordinary modern vocalists. I love him. On guitar, I put Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth. I thought would be interesting, and he could also kind of double as vocalist too. I love like Opeth's more proggy, more current stuff. I'm not as into like the growling, death metal type stuff from their early period, but I do love like their later stuff and really love him as an artist. On keyboards, I thought of Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater. Just like when it comes to modern keyboard players, I think he's like top level, like one of the best players ever. He's just really incredible. And then on bass, not sure how to pronounce it totally, but Marius Duda from Riverside, incredible player. He plays bass in the group, but he also is like the lead singer and is just an incredible songwriter. And he's in the band Riverside. I don't know if I said that, but just a really incredible player. And then on drums, I picked Gavin Harrison. I thought would be cool. He's kind of the drummer of Porcupine Tree and now drums with like Pineapple Thief and is kind of a notable guy in that space, a really great drummer that I think would round this out. So I thought that would be a cool modern group to kind of put together. I thought about putting like Steven Wilson in this mix as well because he's incredible, but all those guys are great.
My foursome that I have, my team of 4, I have been within 20 feet of all of them.
Is that why you were gravitating towards them?
No, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, I was like right next to Rio in the elevator. We walked right by John Anderson in the hotel. And then the other 2, we've been in the front row of one of those Neil Morse band concerts. And so they've been like right there.
That's cool. Interesting.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we need
Have
to
we
go
t-
on more of those cruises to like rub shoulders with more musicians.
I don't know who they are at the time. Because did we tell this story already about John Anderson in the hotel? We talked about it recently, but I don't know if we did.
I don't think we did on the channel.
So I remember when we saw John Anderson, it was in a hotel.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You were like doing that, and I'm like, what happened? And you're like, John Anderson just walked by, and I'm like, which one? Because I didn't recognize him, but I had like walked like this close right by him, and I didn't even.
Yeah, that was crazy. In the hotel, like before we went on the cruise, was just like so many different prog guys just coming in, and like. Is, of course I didn't approach anyone. I'm too like shy to do that, but
if I had known
amazing to see
who he was, I would have, I don't know, probably jumped in front of him and been like, "Hi!" So I'm that person sometimes.
Yeah. And then some other interesting questions. I'm not quite sure what to pick for this, but the question is there an album that's not considered prog that you're willing to call prog? I thought that was interesting.
Taylor Swift.
That's a hot take, maybe. There's several artists I like that maybe are kind of skirting the line between prog and not, like the Deer Hunter that I've talked about a lot. I don't know if they'd traditionally be called prog, but I kind of feel like they should be. Reign of Kindo is another band that I think of, maybe more in like the jazz rock kind of lane, but I think they have definitely proggy tendencies. Even like the Punch Brothers that we talked about, a group I really like that's like more bluegrass and country, but they have a very eclectic style and have like really interesting, movements and have some even classical influence sometimes. So I kind of put them in a progressive rock kind of sphere, even though they're not technically that. So those are kind of the ones that came to my brain about like artists that are kind of close to prog, but maybe not technically prog.
Can I put Yo-Yo Ma in my band?
Yo-Yo Ma in your prog?
Because he was in Goat Rodeo with Chris Thiele, who was in Punch Brothers. So there's a connection there.
All right. I don't know.
This is the weirdest band.
Yeah, I don't know how he'd fit in with all these prog guys, but that could create a new genre.
He'd probably sit in the back and
he'd probably
play
do great,
and be like amazing.
I mean, there's lots of great orchestrated prog music, you know, so it could work.
I'm building my band.
And then another question here: what's your hottest take or most unpopular opinion on prog music?
New prog is just as good as old prog.
Yeah, that's I think that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't have many
Stole your thunder.
Super hot takes, but that was gonna be my thought of like, I think modern prog at its best is just as good, if not better sometimes, than classic prog. I mean, you got to give props to classic prog because it came first and they kind of originated the genre. So there's a certain like specialness to that music you can't really touch. Yeah, I think, but just with the modern production and kind of melding of new styles. And some of the musicianship of some of these modern bands is just off the charts, crazy. Like stuff that Neil Morse is doing and all these other bands, Dream Theater, just at their prime, at their best, they're just as good to me as the modern, as the classic prog.
Remember, we always say enjoy the music. Enjoy whatever music you like to listen to. And if you disagree with that, great. I'm so glad that you love classic prog. Yeah. But that also means that he gets to enjoy his music too.
Yeah.
So,
I built a foundation on the classics from my dad, but what really has excited me since then is the modern prog stuff. That's really what's drawn me in, and that's what I love the most. So and that's what I focus a lot of my channel on. I think it's fun in the prog reactions we do to focus on a lot of classic prog because that's kind of building a foundation for Jana. But I think it's fun to pepper in these modern prog songs too, and you kind of agree with me, right? Some of the modern prog is just as good.
Yeah, I do. I think so.
So that's kind of my hot take, I suppose.
Be nice.
Be nice, yeah. Don't get upset at that. I know a lot of people are the opposite way, but I think a lot of people who watch this channel feel similarly. So, and then these will probably be a couple quick questions here. Outside of the online community, do you know many people that are into prog? The answer is no. No, I don't.
You have one friend that you've introduced it to.
Yeah, I've introduced like my best friend from back in the day. You know, I showed him a lot of prog music, mostly Neil Morse. He's really connected to, and we've been to several concerts together. And he's been sharing with me his favorite songs, and most of them are prog, and that's been fun.
I have a coworker who kind of asked me randomly, like, "Hey, has your husband listened to this band?" And so I think he's a prog fan, or like knows about prog. But when I tell people, like, I went on a progressive rock cruise, they're like, "What's progressive rock?"
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. My own family, my dad, and then my friend who I introduced it to. Those are pretty much my go-tos.
Yeah.
And I knew a couple like acquaintances throughout the years who kind of, I've heard of Dream Theater, or I've heard of, that band or this band, but no one like on the level of what I am. This is kind of my main
level of crazy. Not too many people.
But it's fun. That's kind of why I started the channel, and
he's got you guys to talk to.
Yeah, I feel like I've drawn in several who are on my level and who I've been able to talk about prog with. So that's cool.
Cool.
And then, do you watch In the Prog Seat on Sea of Tranquility? I do watch various videos on Sea of Tranquility. I do like a lot of their content. They put out a lot of stuff, and it's like, sometimes there's more metal-focused shows. Sometimes it's more classic rock or classic prog. They do a variety. I've watched some of the In the Prog Seat videos. They do kind of a round table of several different people they invite on. And so, I watch a lot of those. I've seen a lot of the YouTube channels that I'm sure a lot of my viewers frequent. I go in comments of other people's videos. I'm like, oh, that's that guy who comments on my videos. That's cool. Mm-hmm. So I know there's a lot of shared subscribers amongst all of these different YouTubers that I like. So
I do not watch it.
Yeah, that's an easy answer for you. Maybe it's on in the background when you're like making dinner.
I know
or
who
something.
you're talking about, like the guy with the gray hair, but he recently cut his hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the guy. That's the Sea of Tranquility guy. Pete Pardo. So, so that's a cool channel. Definitely one of the more popular ones in this genre. So, not really prog, but prog adjacent. Have you heard King's X? And if so, what do you think of them? I've heard of them. I don't have too much knowledge of their music. I've heard things here and there. I have like kind of a greatest hits collection of theirs that I've heard selections from. I like what I've heard. I should definitely dive in more. Kind of one of those bands, we were talking earlier about like bands that are, you'd consider prog but aren't really prog. This is kind of in that lane too. Maybe more of like an alternative rock, but with a lot of classic rock influences and different things. It's a cool blend of stuff, and I like it. But
I have not heard of King's X.
Yeah. Not one of my favorites, but it's one I definitely should explore more. And then thoughts on Zappa is the last one here. And Zappa is one that I've been kind of scared to approach because he has such a huge, crazy catalog, and it's like hard to decide where to start or what albums to pick out. Things that I've heard, I've loved certain things. I've like thought other things were just not for me. So it's really hard to explore. So I haven't really delved too deep. I went to a concert of Zappa Plays Zappa with my dad that was fantastic. One of my favorite concerts I've ever been to. Wow. They are just such crazy high-level musicians and just like playing all this really intricate stuff. So I loved that, and I have like this kind of live album of Zappa Plays Zappa that to me is my favorite Zappa stuff. But as for like the classic Frank Zappa stuff, I don't know it very well. So
I have no thoughts on Zappa. Except I like his name.
It's a cool name. So those are the questions.
All right.
It's kind of a fun little segment, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to close out by kind of announcing a new show we're doing. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this would be fun. I started a thing that I've done several videos on called Defining Albums Through the Years, where I talk about like classic albums. And I was trying to build up my vinyl collection with some of these classic albums I feel like I was missing in my collection. And kind of because I focus so much on prog, I thought it'd be fun to step just barely a little outside of that and do like some classic rock, classic pop stuff from the 70s and kind of work my way up to modern day a little bit. But I felt like those shows weren't really very successful and didn't get many views, and I wasn't sure how to approach it. And so I thought of kind of changing that up and doing something more fun with it and starting a show called Classic Albums 101 that I do with Jana. So we're going to do a show together where we talk about a classic album of
We learn about classic albums, because I know nothing about classic albums. I know classic singles. I know like singles, hits, things like that. But albums, I don't have an appreciation for that. So we're hoping that's something I can grow.
She doesn't tend to listen to like a full album. She'll put on a playlist of a variety of songs. And so I thought this would be a cool experience to share it with her. Because, you know, sometimes I think it's maybe boring to just have me sit and talk about an album that people have heard of before. And it's like, do I have much to add about this classic thing? But I thought it'd be more fun.
Watch me be an idiot about them.
No, it'd be more fun to like have someone new to it, you know, giving a fresh opinion and take, kind of like our Jana Reacts, but about full albums. And we won't be doing prog albums. We're just doing classic, like mostly classic rock albums, maybe a little bit of pop from like the 70s.
They're not reaction videos.
No, not reactions.
We are listening to the music ahead of time. So if you want to listen to the music ahead of time with us, then you can, you know, then watch the video with us and share your thoughts on the album as well.
Yeah. At the end of each video, we're going to like announce what the next album is going to be. In fact, I'll announce what our first one will be. And so that'll
I've listened to it now. I hadn't before.
This one. Sorry.
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road by the Beatles. So that's going to be the first show we do. Our first album we talk about, and it's kind of experimental. We're kind of still working out the format and what we want to do with it. But like Jana said, it's not a reaction to the album. It's just us talking about it, a discussion about it. We hope some people join us on that discussion and, you know, listen to these albums as we go, just as a refresher. I know a lot of these albums will be ones people already know and are familiar with, but I just thought it would be fun. We'll see how it goes, you know. It could be a total flop, but I thought it could be fun to some people who like Jana's reactions about music, get her reactions about classic albums. So we'll see how that goes.
I make no promises.
So yeah, that's our show.
That's our show. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. All right, so that's our video today. I know this is a kind of a long one, but
thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yeah, if you're still here with us, thanks for watching. You know, we had a lot of fun filming this, and, you know, we hope you guys have enjoyed our channel and can help celebrate with us for this achievement of 100 episodes, 1,000 subscribers. It's really exciting to me. I hope to continue to build it, and I'm trying to just do what feels right to me and what is fun. You know, that's kind of the point of this. So hopefully you guys are along for the ride. So thank you guys for all your support. Please subscribe if I assume you already have if you've watched this long of this video. But if you haven't, you know, pull that trigger. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Don't worry, they're not all an hour long.
No, we will cut these a little bit shorter normally. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the next one.
Enjoy the music.
All right, bye.